anyone that has seen one of our NM Fast videos, or attended one of our informational sessions, is no stranger to hearing that each SBIR and our STTR agency is different, and that there are few, if any, broad brushes you can paint across that landscape. Well, buckle up, folks, because the Department of Energy, or DOE for short, subscribes to that same methodology. To start out with, DOE is a granting agency. They will not buy a product from you, and they will not be a customer target. It is up to you to decide the problem you are trying to solve, the approach, the objectives, your timeline, etc. However, there is one area where DOE acts like a contracting agency: their topics. You see, DOE has 2 releases a year for their topic areas. Release 1 typically issues topics in July and issues the solicitation in August. And Release 2 typically issues topics in November and issues the solicitation in December. Aside from timing, there's a large caveat between the 2 releases, which is the offices within DOE that participate in that release. Now, we're recording this video right after the issuance of Release 1 FY23 topics, so please keep that in mind if information has changed between then and when you are watching this recording. Now that we have that disclaimer out of the way. Release 1 has the Office of Advanced Scientific Computing Research, Office of Basic Energy Sciences, Office of Nuclear Physics, and Office of Energy. But just giving you the office names doesn't really tell you much. So here's our interpretation. Release 1 deals with more theoretical science, and typically larger scale of technically dense projects. I mean, think about it. You have the Office of Advanced Scientific Computing Research, which generally focuses on computational sciences and covers areas such as high-performance computing, data management and analysis, and visualization. Their mission is to discover, develop, and deploy computational and networking capabilities to analyze, model, simulate, and predict complex phenomena important to the DOE. Seems pretty tech-heavy, right? The other offices largely have similar high-scale focus. Now, Release 2 deals more with the application of energy and energy science, and typically more daily usage projects when it comes to energy. The offices for this release include the Office of Cybersecurity, Energy Security and Emergency Response, Office of Fossil Energy, Office of Defense Nuclear Proliferation, Office of High Energy Physics, Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, and couple others. So why did I say this release is more about the daily usage of energy projects? Let's take the example of the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, whose primary goal is to support early-stage research and development of energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies that make energy more affordable and strengthen the reliability, resilience, and security of the U.S. electric grid. Most of the other offices have similar focal points, where it's much more about the how do we use energy in our daily lives, and how do we improve it? Now, is this a hard and heavy rule? Of course not. This isn't something DOE actually says. But does it prove out well enough to have a general idea? Take a look at some of the past topics for these releases and make your own judgment. By the way, these are all available, past releases and the schedule for future releases on the DOE SBIR site. They do a really excellent job in the website department for their SBIR and STTR programs. Now, when you look at the topics, they seem very focused and speak to a very specific type of innovation, a very specific problem, or a very specific need. Almost sounds like a contracting agency, doesn't it? And that's because DOE topics are written very much like a contracting agency. You want to speak specifically towards the parameters of a subtopic, answering what DOE is looking for when you create your letter of intent. Which, let's face it, it's also quite a bit different than almost every other agency. In fact, you want to almost treat this process like you would do with someone as Department of Defense. Make sure you're answering towards their specifications, protocols, restrictions, environment, all of those. Every factor that's listed in the subtopic should be covered with your letter of intent. Otherwise, you'll probably get a non-responsive designation for your LOI. DOE is also a bit unique in some of the other ways that they use the SBIR and STTR programs. They have a separate commercialization plan for Phase 1, whereas most other agencies include it as part of the narrative And they have a transition schedule that could cut into your Phase 1 period of performance in addition to the areas highlighted above or before in this recording. But we're going to dive into those topics individually in separate videos, including a more in-depth video on the letter of intent and how to approach it, because, like always, it's the nuance that kills your proposal and, ultimately, your project. Thanks, and see you next time.